You hear the ice cubes? Cheers.
Wait.
Oh. Little ASMR.
Yeah.
Welcome to our 13th episode. Not to scare you or anything.
Today I awoke at 4 a.m.
Awoke like a vampire from her coffin?
I was awoken by remembering where I put something. And then I was like, I need to get out of bed immediately. Because I bought Brandon matching like bathrobes for Valentine's Day.
Yep.
And obviously I like just wrapped his and then I had mine somewhere else. And then I didn't wrap mine, and so I hid it as well. And then he went to like wash them before we wore them, and I couldn't remember where I hid my own one. I was like, but I did order it, and I could find the Amazon bag. Sorry, I have like little hairs all over me. I could find the Amazon bag that it was in, and it wasn't in there still. And I was like, I remember being like, I need to hide this, and I hid it so well I forgot about it, and so I couldn't find it for like 4 days. And then
God.
Last night at 4 a.m. I was like, I know where I put it. And so I was like, I need to get out of bed and get it immediately because I don't want to forget again. It was so weird, dude.
Well, welcome back to the Wouldn't You Like to Know podcast. I'm Asha.
And I'm Kat.
And today I'm excited. We're going to be unraveling like travel scams.
Mm-hmm. Or like, travel scams and travel like horror stories a little bit.
Yeah. It's a good idea. A good topic to talk about. So I have a lot to like go off of.
Okay, hell yeah.
I guess I can start.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, start it off.
I wrote down some...
Oh, wait. No, I wanted to do that game.
What game?
It's not really a game, but I guess the exercise of this was brought to us by one of our friends. If you could go on vacation with anybody, who would it be? Dead or alive, people you know, or celebrities, anybody. Yesterday when we talked about potentially talking about this, I was like, I'm going to think about it. Didn't think about it. Not even a little bit. So I'm really happy I'm asking you the question first.
Well, that's hard because I think I'm like such a particular person when I travel. Like I like to travel with the people I know travel well.
Yeah.
You know, like my family, you, like Jacob and his family travel. We all travel really well.
Mm-hmm.
But like if it was with like a celebrity, I wouldn't know how they would travel or like really know how they are. But if I had to choose, I don't know. Maybe, well, my mom would come, of course.
Okay.
My first thought was Pedro Pascal.
Okay, that's fair.
Because he obviously can speak Spanish and could like
you're
show us
thinking
around.
like logically.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, what's coming to mind is Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay.
I feel like she'd be fun on a girls' trip.
Yeah.
Like I feel like she would like kind of give my sister energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That
so
would
she
be
would just
good.
like really commit, and she'd have like a good time for like a bachelorette trip. Jennifer Lawrence, and then like maybe, oh my god, Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Their dynamic could be really fun
Yeah.
on like a girls' trip. And then I'm trying to think of like maybe like a movie character that would be fun to have like on a trip. Like not the actor, the character.
I thought like my first thought went to Marvel characters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like Doctor Strange or something, because he can do some fun. He can like bring me to a different dimension.
Yeah, dude, you can travel. That would be fun. I would say, okay, this isn't characters, but Paige DeSorbo and Hannah Berner, the Giggly Squad podcasters / reality TV stars and comedians and fashionistas and all that stuff. They would be fun to go on a trip with, I feel like.
Yeah, that would be super fun.
But just like a short trip. Like nothing crazy. Just like a really chill short trip.
Little like winery trip or something.
Or to like Italy. But like
a little short trip to
but you're only with them for like a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to like tire them out and like with like social
it'd be
interaction.
chaotic traveling with the Vanderpump Squad.
Oh,
like the like season like
oh my god,
season 3 or 4.
Oh my god, that would be insane. That would be. How do you think that you would function on a trip like that? You know, the trips they went on.
Yeah, like to or like when they went drinking and. Ooh.
I've always like whenever I watched it, I kind of envisioned like my own friend group being on a trip like that, and then like trying to envision like potential drama that could unfold that would lead to that. And I'm just like, there's just no way in my reality that anything could happen that it, like with my group of friends, or honestly even just with me involved at all, I feel like that would be able to escalate to that degree.
Well, there's like drinks thrown on each other. There's like just complete drama, like blackout drunkenness, like
Dude.
saying the worst possible thing. Like,
Yeah.
imagine having a camera crew following our group around on like our group trips.
They would be so bored. I thought about that. They would be so bored. We're all just having a good time, chatting with everybody. There's no drama at all. Maybe the only even edge of drama would be like when people get competitive during games.
Yeah.
But like even then, everything's like so like cohesive and friendly still. Like, yeah, we get competitive, but it's all like out of love. It's like brother sister competitiveness.
We're such normals. That's probably why they kicked the normals off of season 1 of The Traitors.
No, seriously. Yeah. And also like I just don't think we would care.
No.
To be able to
catch me staring directly at the camera when they're like, when the camera's like on me. They're like, okay, production's like, okay, go say something really bad to her. And I'm just like, you stink.
You're stinky. I can smell you.
You're really stinky. you beep.
Do you think that you could be manipulated by production?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so too.
I unfortunately
Not for you, but for me.
I think if we have rubber arms.
Yeah, easy to twist them.
I think if they're paying me, if they're gonna pay me to be a bitch, I'm gonna take the money. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I wonder if the amount of training I've gotten from being your friend over the years.
Okay.
And having to combat all of your tasks that you try to get me to do, I feel like you're almost like a little bit of a production
Oh my God, I
in
am.
a weird way for my life. I don't know if I've talked about this on the pod yet.
Yeah, I'm your in-ear production.
Yeah. You are constantly trying to get me to do things like no reality I should be doing them.
I think it stemmed from having a younger brother and being able to tell him to do like anything I wanted him to do.
Good.
Dude, fun story time, if I may.
Yeah, you may.
We were at IKEA on like the top parking lot. You have to drive up to get there, and there's like little overhangs that you can look down into the lower parking lot in the middle of the top parking lot. So we were getting out of the car, and I think my mom was getting a cart, and she was like, just wait at the car, I'll come back and we'll put you guys in the cart.
Yeah.
And my brother and I were looking over the ledge down to the lower parking lot, and I was like, I dare you to spit in that truck, like in the back of the truck. He's like, okay. But he didn't really fit over, like he couldn't really look over the grate. And so he kind of like jumped up, spit, and then landed on the grate and like bit down through his lip.
Oh
and
my
bit
goodness.
his lip.
I've heard the end of that story about how you getting your brother to do something leaded to him biting through his own lip.
Yeah, so now he has like a big scar down here. And he immediately blamed it on me, of course.
Because it was your fault.
Because it was my fault.
Yeah.
And I mean, he didn't know better because he was younger. But I think now as an adult, it would be his fault because he did it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, my mom was not pleased that we had to rush straight to the hospital because he was just, gushing.
Yeah, hemorrhaging.
Yeah, he was
a little bit. Yeah.
Poor guy. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad for doing that. But you know what? Kind of a classic story if I think about it.
There was one time that I feel like I actually did it. Were we together? No, we weren't together, but it was one of the times that like I kind of let no, we were together. It was at the Canucks game for my birthday.
Oh yeah.
With the lady in front of us who budged.
Yes.
Yeah. Cause
in the bathroom.
Yeah. So at the Canucks game, there's like crazy lineups for the women's washroom at every like intermission, whatever they're called. Halftime. Periods. Yikes. Periods. I didn't mean it like that. I just meant yikes. Like, I don't know what they're fucking called.
Period. Gross.
Yo, yucky. What are those? Anyways, so we're in line and we're hoping that we get to be able to go to the washroom because the line's so long before the period break is over.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden this woman, like very Karen coded,
Very
like,
drunk also.
very drunk, but didn't notice how drunk she was before we started talking, budges right in front of us in the line. Like she just walks up and joins the line right in front of us, and me and Asher just kind of like look at each other and we're like, did this really just happen to us? And then Asher's kind of like looking at me being like say something, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna say anything. And then I just like really loudly was like, ugh, don't you just like hate when this happens? It's just so annoying and inconsiderate. I just said that really loud to Asha. This woman turns around, like hands on her hips, and I like see it immediately. Just I'm like, oh, she is unhinged. She's actually gonna fight me. She's like fully like, I think if I said anything more, she would have thrown hands for sure. Like ripped my hair out of my hair out of my hair. And so I just like quickly read it because we weren't drunk at all. So I quickly read that she's like gonna mess me up for over that one comment. And then I was like think, and she's like, excuse me. And I was like, oh, I just mean like it's just ridiculous. And I pull out like a pill from my little wallet I was playing with. I was like, that like women have such bad period cramps.
She played it off so well.
I don't think I've ever thought that quickly in my entire life.
Yeah.
And then she's like, it is so ridiculous. Oh my God. And like totally fell for it.
Yeah.
And was like, oh my God, that's horrible. I hate that. And like we ended up having like a conversation, and I was like, I'm happy that like we're bonding right now, but I actually kind of hate your guts because like you're horrible for budging in line.
I really just made this up on the spot. Like I really was pissed at you, actually.
Yeah, no, like fully.
You're lucky I had a little Tylenol in my purse that I could just play it off with.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And the line was like really, like we were not the end of the line. The line was much longer than us. And so like annoying. A bunch of other women saw this happen. I wonder if they were like, thank God.
Yeah, we definitely you definitely dodged a bullet there.
I think you would have been coming down with me at that point. But I definitely shouldn't have said anything.
No.
But I just was like so badly wanted to make her feel bad. But when somebody's that drunk, they're not going to feel bad about their actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Anyways. So we kind of figured out who we're going to go on vacation with, but not really.
Yeah.
I like going on vacation with you.
I'd love going on vacation with you.
It's way to one up me.
I absolutely love going on vacation with you.
Well, I love it more.
Fine. Yeah, no, we've done like a lot of different types of vacations too. We've done like day trips randomly. We've done like road trips. We've gone to the island and
Bowen.
Bowen, and then like in the mainland, and then gone to New York. That was the only plane ride we've taken together though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we really went through it because we had like canceled flights, delayed flights. Yeah, we had all of it. Had to like figure out all of our like a hotel for the night because the flights were canceled like
stuck
overnight.
in Montreal, just like not being able to order food because it's all in French, and we're just like
oh my God, dude. Yeah, that was a time.
Yeah, but we made it.
We did make it, and honestly we were pretty chill.
Yeah, I was not. She's good at calming me down. We've already talked about this.
Yeah,
but
I was decently chill.
Yeah.
For what was happening. I did immediately call my mom. Immediately.
Yeah. What do we do?
I was like, dude, you know what to do. You fly. You do flights and stuff. You do traveling. What the hell do I do?
Yeah. So do you have any like crazy like travel stories you want to share at all? Like crazy like scam stories? Because that's kind of like the conversation that we had yesterday. It was like things traveling. Have you experienced like someone trying to take something from you, or someone trying to like sell you something?
Oh yeah, dude, I've experienced it all. I think I'm like a really like easy target.
As we've known from the scam episodes.
The online scam episode. I unfortunately am like a great target for people. Travel scams. When I went to Italy last year, I definitely experienced my fair share.
Okay.
So one of my favorite ones was that I thought was really honestly creative, because sometimes you just like have to give it to them. You're like, that's kind of good.
Props to them.
Props to them. Was the rose one, the rose scam.
Yes. Okay.
Do you know about the rose scam?
It's in the like little information thing that I found online of like
Yeah.
different scams in different parts of the world. But tell me about it.
So basically, I had watched a bunch of videos on scams to expect in Italy and kind of to be prepared for.
Yeah.
So I like knew going into it, and thank goodness, because we literally land in Rome. We quickly drop off our stuff and we at the hotel, and then we go out for a quick lunch. So we're jet lagged, we're tired. We just got into a new country, and we go out for lunch. We're on the patio, and this like older gentleman starts walking by with a bunch of roses in his hand, and he's just like handing them out to everybody. You're trying to hand them out to everybody. And so he comes up to the table and he looks at like my fiance, and then looks at me, and he's like, oh, beautiful woman, like beautiful rose, beautiful flower, and tries to hand it to me. And I was like, oh, no, thank you. And then he starts pressuring Brandon, and he's like, buy it for her, like get it for her, don't you want it? And tries to give it to Brandon. He was like, no, thank you. And we're just like, no, thank you, we're not interested. But like we did kind of like, we were being polite, and we were kind of smiling, we were being friendly to a degree. And then we had to be basically, Brandon had to be like, not interested. And then we had to not look at him, and he stayed there.
Yeah.
While we like, he stayed there after we had said not interested and stopped looking at him. And then eventually he got the message and moved on. And then throughout the trip, it happened so many times. And by the end of the trip, these guys would come by. We would just stare at each other, me and Brandon, just stare and just like not acknowledge them at all, and just completely ignore them, because we were like, that's the only way. They will just walk right past. So then they just started skipping us.
That's, I think the biggest scam is like handing someone something for free, and then being
Nothing's
like, oh,
free.
Thanks. No, nothing is free. I feel like when you are traveling and someone comes up to you, it's like there always is some sort of transaction that has to go on, or something that they're going to want from you.
And like, I feel like there's a big potential for somebody who's like swept up in the romance of Rome and like being in a new country. Like, it happened all over Italy, and just like being like, oh my God, like you guys hand out flowers? That's crazy.
Well,
and
especially
just, like,
to go to you first and then go to Brandon.
Yeah.
Be like, well, why aren't you going to get your lovely girlfriend or fiance this rose?
Yeah.
And make him feel bad, because it's like two people that you're kind of like guilt tripping.
Oh, fully.
Yeah.
Well, and he was handing them out as he was saying, it's free, it's free.
Yeah.
And then he was saying like, buy it for her.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. Another one also in Rome. This one was like, again, super thankful I had looked into it, was people will try to high five you or fist pump you.
Okay.
And when they do that, they'll slip a bracelet onto your wrist.
Okay.
And they target the men.
Okay.
Yeah. So it predominantly on like this one section of Rome's like strip. It's kind of like how you would like think of the New York Times, not New York Times, Times Square.
Yeah.
Sorry. New York Times Square.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like where like that's where you see all like the picture scams and stuff like that. It's very isolated into that one spot of Rome, and like along one boardwalk. And they basically, they're just like, hey bud, nice shoes, high five.
How do they do it? How do they slip the bracelet? Is it like one of those stretchy like beaded bracelets you can kind of like slip over? I don't know.
I think some people are just like also like they practice their talent. It's just kind of like pickpockets. I guess it must be like a beaded bracelet.
Yeah.
But yeah, they slip it onto you really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they like high five you and then slip it on.
Yeah.
So we knew for Brandon, if he was ever targeted by people like giving him a high five, he would just be like, thanks.
Or
but just keep his hands down.
Yeah.
But then of course they like are like, hey, like you just don't want to have a good time. You just want to be rude. And it's just like, damn, like you just want to go to a country and just want to be nice to everybody, and you just want to like immerse yourself into the culture, and you can't. Like you really can't. I mean, obviously you're gonna get those things when you're in like more tourist heavy places, but like, and we were in like a really tourist heavy place for that specific example. But yeah,
that's kind of crazy. That bracelet scam happened to my boyfriend's sister when she was in Paris. For the first time she was traveling. Yeah. She was like, I think her and her friend were under the Eiffel Tower, and some guy was going around with like really nice bracelets, and he was like, oh, for free. And she's like, oh, thanks. And he like put it on her wrist and tied it really, really, really tight. And she's like, thanks. And like kept walking. And he's like, no, like you have to pay. And obviously it's like really tight. She's like trying to get it off. And she's like, I don't want it. She's like, you said it was free. And then he was like starting to get like kind of like like mean and aggressive.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, and like ripped it off and like threw it at him. I was like, I don't want it anymore. Like, not threw it at him, but like, take it back. I don't want this.
That's what you have to do.
First of all, don't touch me without like consent. Don't like put something on, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one that she experienced. But I've had a few like scam incidences like with traveling in LA. My family and I went to Venice Beach, and there's a lot of like buskers and like people who are trying to sell things. So we just kind of would walk right past them. But we walked past this group of guys who had like a boombox all set up on the sand, and they were playing music. And then as we were like, they see it, you know, a family that looks clearly like a tourist family, like, you know, looking around. Maybe we have like, I don't know, like an LA sweater on or whatever. And
got the look.
Yeah, we got the look. And they came up with like a CD, like a, you know, like a mixtape almost. Like, here, like, here's our CD. It's what's playing. And we're like, oh, great, thanks. And we walk by and they're like, yeah, take it for free. And then we walk by and they start running after us. And they're like, no, tip, please tip. And we're like, oh, no, like, take it back. And they're like, no, keep it, but give us a tip. Oh my God, we were just like
so panicked.
So we just kept walking. We didn't
give it back.
Yeah, my dad and my brother gave his back. I had already put mine in my backpack, and they were like, ma'am, give it back. And I was like, they just kept walking. So I think it's like still in a backpack somewhere.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I felt really bad about that. But also just like so stressed out. And we like had gone to lunch after that happened. We were all sitting down like, that was really stressful.
Yeah, dude.
Just we hadn't really as a family experienced anything like that before. Yeah. So we were just like, holy crap. Okay, well next time let's just keep walking next time. Because there were so many of them that were kind of like shouting things at us that we were just kind of like,
it's overwhelming, and they do it on purpose. That's why they start yelling on scam calls too.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just too bad that happens, like especially with buskers too, and like street performers, because there's a lot of like really like authentic, genuine, talented street performers and buskers, and it's just like too bad that they get that bad rep. I think something that I learned a lot of when I was in Italy that locals hate the scammers. They hate it.
Oh God.
And like the locals aren't really usually the ones that are scamming you. It's like other people who have come in, and a lot of the time they refer to them as like gypsies.
Okay.
I heard, and at least that's what the like police refer to them as.
Whereabouts?
In Italy and in Europe, like people who scam.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and they like travel and they'll scam like in multiple different places. But when me and Brandon were in San Francisco, wasn't a scam at all, but they're known for their incredible street performances. And we were bike riding, and we were gonna go along a bike ride all over San Francisco, and we came across these like really cool, I guess you'd call them like dancers / like acrobatics street performers, and they were incredible. So we stopped our bikes and we watched, and of course we tipped after, but we like watched for like probably 30 minutes.
That's cool.
They were doing all these crazy flips and lifts, and like they were like really funny and engaging. Like it was like physical comedy too. And it was just so cool. I just think street performers are they're amazing. I just think those are some of the most talented people ever, and I was in that moment and I was just like, wow, it's so cool to be a human.
Aww.
Like humans are so cool sometimes, you know, like we're so talented, some of us.
That's really cute.
And like it's really cool to be able to have one of those special moments where like I don't really think even like people's phones were out or anything like that. Like I think they had a filmer on their team because they were like clearly professional. They had like matching outfits and everything. Like they were super cool. And like there was like 7 of them. Like,
that's really cool.
And it was so cool. And I was just like, this is
a little special human moment. Look at those little tiny beings just watching each other do fun little flips.
No, seriously.
How wholesome is that?
Seriously. And they were not demanding.
That's nice.
For tips. They were just like, if you can, like, it lets us keep doing what we love. We love doing this. Like, it was super cool. And of course, you want to support people like that.
There's definitely like a fine line between like busking and then like scamming and like that kind of thing. I know there are some buskers who like run a scam like kind of business, whereas like someone singing or doing some sort of thing where you stop and watch, and then they have someone like going around pickpocketing. There's like so many different like scams like that. Another instance was when I was in Cabo. We were walking along the beach, like legit Cabo. We stayed in
resort,
like 30 minutes away, like so we drove down into like the Cabo area, and
Okay.
we're just like for the day, so we were like shopping around.
Oh, you were
And-
like in the city then?
Yeah, we were in the city.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Where,
yeah.
you know, the iconic, it's kind of like where the boats go, and yeah, it's super cool. But a lot of people like selling you things. A lot of people like have stuff on the ground that they're selling, like, but then you see the stuff on the ground, and then you also see the same stuff that they're selling in the trinket stores. So it's like, you know, they're probably selling it for a lot more, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So one of them was, there were guys walking around with lizards on their shoulders.
Oh, that's so cool.
They were like really big, colorful,
Yeah.
like green lizards with like red and yellow. They were really cool. I love like that kind of stuff.
They're called bearded dragons.
No,
Oh,
not
bigger than
bearded.
that.
Yeah, they were pretty big, like probably like from my middle finger like down to the middle of my forearm.
Oh, wow.
There, pretty long, pretty big. Like they had them on their shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would come up to you if you're like stopping, taking photos of the view. They'd come up to you,
And
put the
put-
lizard on your shoulder,
And then
and
take
then
a photo of you. with
they
it.
would either take a photo of you, or they would be like, "Hey, mom, come take a picture, take a picture." And then like a mom would come over and take a picture of her daughter with a lizard on her shoulder and be like, "Okay, now pay us."
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of like thing we experienced. We didn't have it to us. We were
Yeah.
like
watching it happen.
yeah, Jacob's sister was like, don't like,
Yeah.
and you know, just walk right by, don't make eye contact,
Yeah.
like just pretend you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Almost.
We so similar in Cabo. We were staying at an all inclusive, and we went into the city, and it was like I was 14, 13 at the time. Me and my cousin were quite young. And yeah, like it's just both our families, and we're walking, and then this woman just started following us.
Oh,
She
awesome.
started following us and begging us for money.
Oh yeah.
And just like literally wouldn't leave us. We were walking for probably 45 minutes. She wouldn't leave us. So then eventually my uncle just paid her.
That's good that you were with an adult, like a parent.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, we had a huge group of us.
Okay.
But yeah, I just remember it, and like it always stuck with me because I was like, do you think it's a good idea to like pay those people who are like they're clearly to a degree running some sort of scam because they're following you for so long,
Yeah.
and they're harassing you,
Yeah.
and so you're kind of like saying, yeah, this is a way you can get money by
Yeah, you
paying
don't have
them.
really any other out than
Yeah.
either being a complete douchebag to them or paying them. That happened to us as well. We had like little kids coming up to us,
Yeah,
asking or
that's
like
really
selling
sad.
like little trinkets or bracelets, not putting them on us, but just like, "You want to buy?" And
Yeah.
then they would like kind of like follow us, like they'd be in front of us, like walking
Yeah.
backwards, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously having a little kid come up to you, and then they kind of look a little dirty and like a little sad, like, you know,
Yeah.
they're like trying to pull at the heartstrings, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's really sad. Like obviously I'm like, they
Those
have
are-
to make their money anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
that like just like I think it's a lot different than somebody running a scam,
Yeah.
because I think for like in at least the situation I'm talking about, like it's more similar to somebody begging for money on the side of the street.
Yeah.
They're just being more aggressive
Like
about
panhandling almost.
it. Yeah. So it's not necessarily like, obviously it's not the best thing in the world, but that person doesn't want to be doing that.
Mm-mm.
So it is different. And like my uncle is just very like charitable, and so like I grew up watching him, like every time we went to the grocery store, especially around Christmas, he would just like buy a rotisserie chicken and then like give it to the person who sat outside the grocery store,
that's
or like
nice.
a sandwich or something,
Yeah.
or he'd give them like $100.
Oh wow.
And like I did
Yeah.
have to learn quick, like be careful about giving money
Mm-hmm.
to people like that, because like you might actually not be helping them.
Mm-hmm.
You might be like hurting them in the long run.
Yeah.
But always like providing food is like a good idea.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
yeah, so like that's definitely, I was like curious in that Mexico situation, like, you know, was that the right thing to do? But I think it is a different situation than a scammer.
Yeah. I also just think like when you're traveling, just, you know, don't take things from people. Don't like
Yeah.
give, you know, just kind of keep to yourself.
Yeah.
Just be careful too.
I have another story about Cabo.
Okay.
Same trip. I think I've told you this before.
Okay.
I've not told the pod.
The boat.
The pod. So we're on the beach hanging out, and people would come up to like the ropes along the beach,
Yes.
like the resort, and
Yep.
they try to sell things.
Yeah, same thing.
So
that
this is
happened to
kind of
us.
later in the evening. This is sunset time, so there's nobody really on the beach. For like the members, people are kind of having dinner, and then the guests are, and then also there's nobody really selling anything because of that.
Yeah.
And this man walks by with a horse. He's riding a horse. And me and Emma, of course, run up to him. We're like, oh my God, your horse. It's so gorgeous. Like, such
Yeah,
a gorgeous
yeah.
horse. And balls of steel when I was a kid. Balls of steel. I said, can I ride it? I just asked. I just said, can I ride it? He's like, well, I charge. And I was like, we have no money. Straight up. I was like, we have no money. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, okay. I'm kind of thirsty. And I was like, oh, I can get you a Pepsi. We have them in our room. And so he's like, okay. I was like, wait there. It was a huge resort. Me and my cousin sprinted back to our unit. I would say it was like a kilometer at least to get back to our room. And then we get the Pepsi, run all the way back, and then trade a Pepsi for a ride on this horse. And he was so nice.
That's good that he was nice. Dude, and that it went well.
Totally could have just put us on that horse and
run away.
Just being like, all right, have a free kid.
2.
Yeah, 2 free kids. No, we got to ride them separately. We were like big enough to like, we had to ride that. It was a regular size horse. Anyways, yeah, so he was like super safe with us.
That's really
like
nice.
He held the reins still for us, so we could just like kind of ride around. It was gorgeous because it was the sunset. And yeah, both let us have a turn. Was like super, like stayed close to the ropes and stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah, and just took the Pepsi and went on his way.
I want to ride a horse on a beach. So
it was amazing. It was amazing, and honestly, one of like my favorite memories. But also I think I totally could have just got napped
literally
like really quick.
Crazy.
Yeah, so like none of my training came into play there.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
We have a voice note from one of our best friends.
Oh, she sent it in?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
So
about her actually almost getting napped.
Okay, we're gonna play it. She's like, I'll send you the voice note though, you can listen to see if it's worthy. I think it's worthy.
Yeah,
so we're gonna play it. Hopefully the sound comes through.
Yeah,
I'll turn it up. It's 2 minutes, so
oh geez. All right.
Okay, so basically my dad and I had just landed at the airport in Santiago. And as soon as we were like getting ready to leave the airport, there's obviously just a whole bunch of people there who are trying to offer rides to people who don't have like shuttles or rides figured out or whatever. So we get approached by this one guy who is very pushy, you know, speaks pretty good English. So is like kind of catching us there because we're just overwhelmed and we're already trying to like, or had already dodged so many people coming out of the airport already. But then this guy manages to corner us and keeps talking to us. And he's like, no, I've got you a good deal. Come with me. You need to get a taxi to where? Here, let me help you. And my dad's like very much trying to push him off and be like, no, like we got it. Just give us a second. Just give us some time. And the guy really was so pushy. And so my dad's like, you know what, whatever. Like this guy is speaking clearly enough that we understand what he's saying. It's clear that he knows what we need. So whatever, let's just go ahead with this. And so the guy brings us over to another man who is in a taxi, and they start loading up the taxi with our luggage. And the guy's talking about the payment, and it's like, okay, so it's going to be, and trying to make it very quick too, because they were crazy overcharging us, but we weren't paying attention to like the conversions. My dad had to go to the guys bringing my dad over to like the ATM to take money out without giving my dad a whole lot of time to think about the conversions or whatever. And then the taxi driver opens up the car door for me and puts me in the car and then starts driving away. And my dad just loses it and he goes racing over to the car. He's just like, fuck this ATM, fuck this guy. Stop that car. Don't you take my daughter right now, whatever. And then the guy stops it and was like, whoa. All good. And so basically they were just trying to move the car out of like the, I guess like the taxi bay or whatever, just to park while my dad was taking out the money. But I was freaked out too, because I've just been opened up a seat in the car and then the car starts driving and it's got all our luggage and just me in it. And I'm watching my dad far enough away that I'm like, oh, hello, please don't leave. Anyways, that was I almost got kidnapped in Chile story, but actually we were just being scammed for money.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
That's insane. I was actually really scared. And was the taxi just being moved?
Oh my gosh, thank you for sending that in.
Yeah,
edge of my seat.
Yeah,
Jeez,
I need to know if they took that taxi.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Did they end up taking that taxi to their place, or did they end up getting a new taxi? And being like,
I'll text her. Hold on, let me text her back.
Yeah.
Felt like real professional there playing it. Like,
yeah.
Hey guys.
Dude, I was gobsmacked.
That was crazy.
That's insane. She's really good at telling stories too.
She's so good at telling stories. We'll have her on
Not
the
like
pod
me.
soon when we get another microphone.
Yeah.
You'll love her.
Yeah. Once we anyways.
Make some money so we can afford another microphone.
Once somebody gives us any sort of form of money, maybe we'll start scamming. That sounds good to me personally.
Hey, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
I have one more story. So we were coming back from Cuba. We had brought our tennis rackets to play tennis at the resort. So we like put them in our backpacks. So the handle was sticking out, and we were allowed to bring them like onto the plane, sitting with us. What is that called? Like
Carry on.
carry on was the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Oh
It's
my
okay.
God.
It's okay.
So on the way back, the lady at the front desk who was giving us the tickets was like, "Oh, what's in your bag? What is that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a tennis racket." And she's like, "Well, you can't bring that on the plane. You have to check it." And he's like, "Crap. Well, we don't have an extra bag." And she's like, "Well, you can go to that machine over there and it'll wrap it with like plastic wrap. Have you ever seen those at the airport before? Yeah, you can wrap it like your suitcase." She's like, "Just go over there and wrap it, and then I'll bring it back here. And then I'll like put a tag on it and we can check it." So he goes over to the machine to like wrap it up, and this guy is like, runs over to him. He's like, no, no touch, no touch. Like, let me do it for you. And Jacob was like, "Okay, thanks," assuming he works at the airport. Is like able to like do it for him. So like Jacob didn't hurt himself with the big like spinning machine.
Yeah.
So he does it. He like gets some cardboard, like kind of makes like a makeshift box and wraps the tennis racket. And then he's holding on to it and he's like, pay me. And Jacob's like, "Oh, I thought this was like a free service. She just told me to come over here and do this." He's like, no, pay me. I'm not going to give it back unless you pay me. And Jacob's like, "Come on."
Yeah.
And then the mom that we were with made a huge freaking stink about it. And we got the like authorities involved, and we almost had to go sit in a room
And be
detained because of her Karen energy, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
That was really scary, and I was shit my pants a little bit. It didn't need to be escalated to that point.
Yeah.
We could have like gone back and talked to the woman at the airport, been like, "Hey, we don't want to pay this." And so moral of the story is that guy didn't work at the airport. He was just like, he just came in and started charging people like stupid
scamming.
Tourists for, obviously big scam.
It's hard though. They totally take advantage of things happening fast.
That's
what they
exactly
do.
what it is, because the lineups to go to the front desks were so long. We were like, holy crap, our plane leaves in like 30 minutes. We got to go to the gate. Yeah, it was like
they know you're in a high stress
chaos.
situation already.
And then on top of that, almost being detained because we're yelling at this man, and this man went over and got the authorities, and oh my God, that was really scary.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just like, you're just not necessarily confident in what you know, and you're in a different country, especially with the taxi story even. Like I remember it's a flat cost for taxis from JFK into the city for New York.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do the math on all of the extra add-ons that you can potentially get for like times a day you're traveling, and like if you are traveling to certain parts of the city, and it ended up costing more than I expected it to cost. And honestly, like I have been like almost scammed before. Like I've never actually been scammed. But well, anyways, those AirPods are
roll the tape.
But like I've never actually been scammed. I think of myself as like a decently smart person, but I definitely was like, I could fight this because I feel like it should be less. But it's hard. You're like in a new place. You don't really want to make a stink, and they feed off that.
So I don't remember this at all. Maybe
I took care of everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daddy. Sorry, Daddy.
You were checked out because of everything with like us being delayed. So we finally got to New York. So I was like, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay.
And like it was supposed to be a $70 flat rate to get into the city. But then I was like looking at all the add-ons that I could see. And we also got this taxi from the taxi booth.
Yeah.
Which is like what they recommend. So I knew it was a legit taxi, and the guy was kind. Like he was really kind.
Yeah.
And he was like helping us out in terms of like, he was giving us like a couple of recommendations and stuff.
And he like helped us with our luggage, and he was
super helpful. Yeah. And like even when we got out, like he stopped the car and he made sure that all our luggage was like not just out, but like also on the curb and everything. So it ended up being like close to $90 instead of $70.
Yeah.
But then I was like, yeah, there was like a few $5 charges, and all of the charges I was seeing kind of applied to us based on where we were going, and we were traveling in like the peak time.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't know if those charges are legit.
And I don't know if you have the ground to stand on, like arguing it almost.
Yeah, because I was like, I know the flat rate is 70, and it's saying flat rate 70 right there.
Yeah.
It did say that. So that checked out.
Yeah.
And then there were the add-ons. I just hadn't heard about the add-ons. So I was like, do I fight this? And in that moment, it was just like no, we're so tired. I don't want to get in a fight with this guy. Like, it's just so fine. Like, I just want to keep good vibes for like not only me, but I also wanted to make sure like good vibes for you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have a good experience. So yeah, I just like let it go.
Save the day. Oh my goodness.
Well, no, it wasn't anything. I just was like, I totally could fight this, but it's really hard when you just like, you're just not, you're in an uncomfortable footing. You don't have like, you don't have solid footing.
And I think that's like,
You take advantage of that.
that's the best place for like, not that he was, I guess it was kind of a scam. Not like,
I don't know if it was a scam. It actually could have been totally legit.
yeah, it's not like taking a taxi from an airport to a hotel and actually getting there safely with all your luggage in one piece is a scam, but like being overcharged, but like being flustered and being like uncomfortable where you are is like the kind of the best time I feel like for someone to like take advantage of.
Oh, really? Truly?
Oh, I thought you were asking like, oh, really?
No, it's truly really is. Okay, last story, but this is like one of my like favorite, or this is one of my like, when I was younger, really learning that different places really do function differently, and just not knowing like the base common sense of that place can get you in danger quickly.
Yeah.
So my family and I were going on a cruise that was going out of Texas. So we were staying in Texas, Houston.
Okay.
And we
Houston,
were staying
Texas?
Houston, Texas. Whoops. Sorry.
Sounded so like backwards.
Houston, Texas. Anyways, so we're staying downtown in a hotel. We're just literally there for the night to sleep, and then we get on the cruise the next day. So we get there, we check in, we drop off all our bags, freshen up, and we're like, okay, we're just gonna go grab some dinner. And so we look up that there's a Hard Rock Cafe that's close by, decently close by, like a few blocks away. And so we're talking to the concierge, and he's kind of like mapping out where it is and like how to get there, and he's like, I'll call you a taxi. And my parents are like, no, we can just walk, it's not that far. And he's like, really? And they're like, no, it's fine, like busy streets, like we'll walk. Because as we pulled up to the hotel, originally everybody was on the streets, like tons of cars on the road, tons of people on the streets, like it was a busy downtown area. So we're like, yeah, it's great to walk through that, right? Super safe, no issue. But then this guy gave us like a really weird look when we suggested that we would walk like 5-6 blocks, like nothing crazy. And my dad's like a big guy, and he was like, no, it's fine, like we don't need to call a taxi. He's gonna listen to this back, and he's gonna berate me if I make any mistakes in this story. Anyways, we take the map and we start walking.
Okay.
As soon as we're outside the hotel, we notice something's wrong. No cars and no people. We've maybe been in the hotel for like max 30 minutes.
No people in the hotel or outside?
No people on the streets, on the sidewalks.
Okay.
No cars, real. Like it's like a ghost town.
Okay.
Houston, Texas, downtown area.
Yeah, okay. Scary.
Nobody's there. It was so spooky. It's like Zombieland vibe. We start walking, and we're just following my dad. And then we realize, okay, we're kind of getting lost. We probably should have already been there by now. Like, where is this place? And we notice that the only people that are on the streets, not looking the best, kind of looking a little sketchy.
Okay.
And people are starting to realize us because we are standing out, because we are a like very, I'd say like we look very like put together, vacation ready family.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're starting to get followed, and I'm noticing that, and I'm kind of like telling my dad like, hey, you see the people following us behind us? Like they were on the last block, and he's still with us. And so then my mom goes, oh, it's okay, like we're lost, but we can just ask somebody for help. We'll ask somebody for help. So I'm like, I don't think so, man. Like, I don't know if these people have our best interest in mind, like by the way that they're looking at us like we're a meal. And then so she just asked a random person that's like waiting at a bus stop, I think. They're like, oh, do you know, like we're trying to get here. Can you give us directions? He gives us directions. And I'm like, there's no way that that's where we're going. The directions he gave us, I was like, no way. And so I look at my dad, and my dad was like kind of getting upset, like, come on, don't talk to him.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. We'll just like figure it on our own. Anyways, gives us directions. We start following them. Notice that man's following us now. I look at my dad, and I'm like, just call a taxi. Like, we're just going to call it. Let's just cut our losses.
Yeah.
So we just call a taxi, get a taxi. total opposite direction of where our directions were given.
Oh,
like,
no.
man gave us fully fake directions because we went the opposite of directions that we got given by this man. Get to the Hard Rock Cafe, shout out, awesome, and have our dinner or whatever. It was great. And we're asking the waiter, like, why is there nobody outside, like downtown? There's underground tunnels for all the commuters. Nobody really stays or lives in downtown Houston, Texas.
Oh,
So all the people who commute in, because it's so hot, they commute in like the subways.
whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were subways in Texas.
Yeah. So that's how they all get out of the city so quick. Nobody
Whoa.
wants to be out on the sidewalk. You're exactly right.
Whoa.
Yeah. So there were cars, but very few, and not traffic. No traffic in what you'd expect.
Yeah.
At like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
In a pretty like hustle bustle like
in
area.
like a hub.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
a hub. It was crazy. I don't know if it's like changed since then, but I just like, I was also very young, so like my memory of it I feel like is more probably dramatized. But yeah, it was like so scary. I just like never had experienced anything like that
Ghost
before.
town, but like in a pretty big. That's like The Last of Us or like The Walking Dead almost.
So eerie to go, but it was just the juxtaposition of like when we first showed up
Yeah.
and such a busy city to walking out such a short time after
Yeah.
and just nobody. But then you go into the buildings and they're full of people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just crazy. It is just people who live in very, very hot, very, very humid climates. They do need to like stay in air conditioning. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
like Vegas, even though like people are out and about in Vegas, it's just like the people who live like in Vegas are just like, it's so hot there.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just like stay inside, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to read the little like sheet that I found online. Okay. So it kind of gives like little pictures, little infographics, and the title of each like scam, and then where it's common in.
Yeah.
So, okay, the first one, the friendship bracelet. Someone will approach you and offer a friendship bracelet. Regardless of what you say, they'll try to take your wrist and begin making the bracelet on you and ask for payment. And this is common in Paris, Rome, Barcelona, Cairo, like a lot of different places. The rose for your girlfriend was the second one.
Yeah.
Common in Paris, Rome, Barcelona. The found ring. A woman will drop a ring right in front of you and ask if you dropped it. When you say no, she will inspect the ring and prove it to you that it's real gold. It isn't. And then she'll offer to sell it to you for a much higher price than it's worth. And that's like, I think it says common in Paris. This one is crazy. I was like, what? The thrown baby. A woman will walk up to you and throw her baby, usually a doll, into your arms. While you're in shock and your hands are occupied holding the baby, her accomplices will go through your pockets or bag. That's common in Rome.
That didn't happen to me. That's insane.
Imagine having like, oh my God, I would be in shock if someone threw their child, like fake child at me.
Yeah. Dude.
Street games, or like the shell game is I think what I've seen
Yeah.
online with like the cups and the ball. A man will perform a game such as guessing which cup a ball is in or a magic trick on the side of the street, and we'll have a group of accomplices disguised as tourists watching a show. This is to make you curious and want to go over and watch him while you're distracted and concentrating on the performer. You get pickpocketed.
Yeah.
Paris and London, common. The dropped wallet. I'm assuming like someone drops a wallet. When you walk past, your instinct is to check your own wallet to make sure it's safe. An onlooker will make a note where you checked for your wallet and will know exactly where you put, like where to put his hands. And that's common in Rome and Ukraine.
That's like, honestly, that's a smart
It's
one.
really smart.
That's a smart one.
On your
Give them props for that.
stain on your jacket is another one. Someone will purposely spill something, anything from ketchup to fake bird poo or even fake dog poo, on your jacket or your shoes or your pants or whatever. This could be subtly or by accidentally bumping into you. They'll then point it out to you and offer to help clean it. When they get their hands on your jacket, they'll wipe it clean and they'll steal whatever's in your pocket. Buenos Aires and Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, I
and
hadn't
then-
heard that one before, but that one's, yeah.
The
that's smart.
shoe shiner. A man will drop
Yeah.
his shoe brush right in front of you. When you pick it up for him, he'll thank you by shining your shoes. While it seems like a free gesture to begin with, he'll then demand money. Istanbul. Woman selling rosemary. An old woman will offer you a sprig of rosemary, which is also said to be a sign of friendship. She will grab your hand and possibly offer to read your fortune. Then you guessed it, she asks for payment for her services. Oh, and if you don't pay, she starts cursing you and your family, which can be a bit scary. And this is usually found in Madrid and New Delhi. So yeah, it was just like a little sheet of like interesting scams that I think can happen around the world. Kind of like interesting to learn about.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, you got to you gotta hand it to him for the creativity in some of those.
Unfortunately.
Like that's actually like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think like, yeah, I mean, it's not good to scam, but I mean, hell yeah, dude.
Okay, I'm gonna ask
Not
a really
hell yeah,
horrible.
sorry, I'm gonna take that back.
I'm gonna ask a horrible question then.
Okay.
What scam would you have if you were a scam artist and was scamming like tourists?
You know what? Like, I was gonna say like the classic one. I do respect the hustle of the people who do art in the middle.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah,
like caricature drawing or like plein air paintings.
Oh, I'm not talking about that.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about like actual street art on the street, like on the actual ground.
Oh.
They do like art on the ground.
Yeah.
And then if anybody walks on it, they charge them for it.
Oh my God. Why would people walk on that?
Because it's literally in the middle of a heavy traffic
place.
Okay. Like, people have no choice. They're like looking up at the sites and then they walk on it. Or they'll put like paintings that they've just like cheap paintings that they bought all down. Like they set up their place, and then if you obviously accidentally walk on it because there's like nowhere else to walk, then they'll like charge you for stuff. Yeah, I just think that it's like, I love the creativity of it. I love that like literally people are just stumbling into your scam. They can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
there was a lot of that in Florence. There was also a lot of like legit artists in Florence, which that made me sad. I was like, I want to be able to support like small artists,
but it's hard to differentiate.
It is hard. Like you can tell to a degree, but like it's, even if you think that they're legit, you don't necessarily want, like, you're not necessarily confident enough to approach them just in case.
Yeah.
Whereas like I wish that I was confident enough so that I could have some like authentic art from like Florence.
Yeah.
Florence, where I got my necklace, which is like real like Italian gold. The only reason I felt like safe getting it at the place in Florence, because there's a lot of fake gold scams in Italy specifically, and like fake gold stores, is because it was on that like historical bridge that goes over like the Florence Canal, the like last standing one that has a bunch of gold shops on it. So, like,
I see.
All of the gold on that strip is authentic.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your scary travel story. Well, not scary, but like, I guess scammy travel stories, right?
Scammy, funny, weird.
If you're able to leave a comment on the video on Spotify or on YouTube, let us know your like craziest scams from traveling. It's fun to hear different stories about like how people get out of the scams, or even if they like fall into the scams. So yeah, thank you for unraveling touristy scams with us.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
And we've seen that people are watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
People are looking at us, creeping on us, and you can see the views. So if you're over at YouTube, just hit that subscribe button.
Give us a little like-a-roo, smash that subscribe button, smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Because it's just fun for us. Like, we are just so new to this, and we're having a ton of fun. We hope that comes through.
It's nice to see like the people listening and like kind of, I don't know, it's fun
that what we're doing people are enjoying, hopefully. But and if you have any stories that you want to write in, we've had a couple stories written in already, so we'll do either like specific podcast based off those stories, like topics,
listener write-ins,
or a whole topic that is just people writing in, depending on what the content is. But they're really cool things. So if you have any like little stories about things that you would want to learn more about, or maybe something you're an expert in, or maybe something we've talked about already and you want to kind of say your own story, like maybe you have a scammer story, we'd love to read it at the end of the next podcast. Well, tune in next week. I don't know what we're talking about, but we'll figure it out.
Wouldn't you like to know?
I would.
Hey, I would.
You should too.